I'm calling for a couple of major upsets in the Big Ten this week. That's right. We're going to preview every Big Ten game, and then we'll close it out with our weekly bold, fearless pigskin picks. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey, hit that free subscribe button. That way you'll never miss a single episode. We'll be in the same club together. And if you could share, like, and follow, that would help us out as well. And did you know you can hype YouTube videos as well? This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. So, smaller schedule this week, just 6 games, 12 teams. We'll cover every one of them right here. Plus, we got the big one, the rematch of the Big Ten Championship down in Happy Valley, a big old whiteout coming. And, of course, we'll have our pigskin picks at the end. So, who, what, where, when? Here we go. Number 21, USC is at number 23, Illinois. That is the big noon game on Fox. That's 9 a.m. Eastern for California people. Let me start with Illinois, though. Watch them very closely. This is a good football team. And they've been ranked. They're coming off a 10-win season. They got a good coach in Brett Bielema. But they got railed on national TV Saturday night in Bloomington against the Hoosiers 63-10. How are they going to bounce back? They've got an offensive unit with an experienced quarterback, all 5 offensive line starters, all 5 starters on offensive line have come back. And yet they only rushed for 2 yards against the Hoosiers the entire game. 2. That's pretty remarkable. Luke Altmaier was sacked 7 times in that game. Wide receiver Hank Beatty, who put up monster numbers for the month of September, had 2 catches and 13 yards. The Hoosiers had 10 tackles for loss. As Kurt Cignetti, the coach of the Hoosiers, said, "We broke their spirit." Brett Bielema, never short on words for a good quote, he was speechless after the game. He said he never seen anything like it before. So my questions are, can you bounce back from that in a week? Can you fix all those problems in a week? Will there be a hangover effect? That's what I want to watch with Illinois. I think you'll be able to see that pretty early in the game and how they respond in the first quarter. And at least they're home this week. They got to take on a USC Trojans team, though, that has scored 210 points in 4 games. What happens to Illinois if the Trojans do what they do and they score early and often and start building up a score right away? You know, the Fighting Illini, they're going to have some sort of deja vu, post-traumatic stress. They're going to feel like, whoa, here we go again. So I think the beginning of this game is key, as a matter of fact. And USC, because of this, is probably the worst opponent that the Illini could have coming off of that Indiana game. Lincoln Riley, though, not happy with the kickoff time because it's 9 a.m. their time, even though it's noon kickoff Eastern time. And their body clocks are going to be off. And this coming off a week where they had the latest game on the schedule, which was 11 p.m. Eastern last week, 8 o'clock Pacific. Got to adjust. That's life in the Big Ten. Meanwhile, Trojan quarterback Jade Maeva, he's thrown 9 touchdowns and no interceptions so far. He's thrown for over 1,200 yards, 71% completion rate. He's rolling. And the Trojans offense has had no less than 460 yards in any game this season. Got a good running back in Waymon Jordan. He's averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Wide receiver Mekhi Lemon already has 24 catches for 438 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the defense has 16 sacks and 6 interceptions, led by Bishop Fitzgerald with his 3 interceptions. So, tough game for Illinois. Interesting spot for USC. I'll have my pick on this in a moment. Meanwhile, we're going chronological order by time at noon. We also have the Rutgers, Minnesota game that is on the Big Ten Network. The Big Ten Network will be doing their tailgate show from Minnesota. Both of these teams are coming off of losses. Rutgers lost 38-28 to Iowa, while Minnesota is coming off of a bye following a loss out west to California. Rutgers can score points. 167 points in 4 games. I mean, not like USC, but not bad either. Led by veteran quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis, who started as a freshman for Minnesota. All right, that was 3 seasons ago. And he reportedly had a falling out with PJ Fleck, and he bolted. He got out of there, and he landed at Rutgers. He was the starter there last year. He's a starter this year, and he has steadily improved. Maybe this is a little bit of a revenge game for him, something to keep an eye on. His favorite target, of course, is Ian Strong, who's topped 100 yards receiving in all 3 of the games that he has played in this year. KJ Duff is pretty good, too. Rutgers' run defense, though, needs a little bit of work, and Iowa ran the ball pretty well on them, and running the ball is what Minnesota does. They got a stud running back in Darius Taylor. Now, he tweaked his hammy a couple of weeks ago, sat out the previous week, plus the bye week. They say he should be good to go. If not, the Gophers' running back room is pretty deep. Coy Parrish, 3-way star, safety, wide receiver, returner, still waiting for a breakout game for him. I pumped this guy up all summer long. I need a big game out of him this week. And then outside of the whiteout, which we'll get to in a moment, the Ohio State game, number 1 rated in the country at Washington, I think is the other most intriguing game this week in the Big Ten. Washington is pretty good, and Ohio State's coming off the bye. This will be 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. It's on CBS. And the reason it's intriguing for me is because, okay, the Bucs are going to travel across the country, different time zone. It can be tough on anybody. Coming off the bye week, and we're going to continue to watch Julian Sayin's development at quarterback, even though he threw 2 interceptions in their last game. Washington will have the better quarterback in this game. Damon Williams Jr. is rapidly becoming a superstar while Julian Sayin is still figuring things out. The Buckeyes do have the edge at wide receiver, right? No doubt. Jeremiah Smith, but Denzel Boston is one of the very best wide receivers in the Big Ten also. So, yeah, Ohio State has an advantage, but not as big of an advantage at wide receiver as they normally have. Now, the Huskies will have an advantage at running back with Jonah Coleman. He's already had a game for 177 yards. He's had a separate 5-touchdown game on just 15 carries. He's had another game where he was over 100 yards receiving. He can do it all. He's the most complete running back in the Big Ten, and he's behind an offensive line that is better than the Buckeyes. So there are some advantages for Washington in this game. Now, defense, hands down, Buckeyes have the advantage here. Washington's given up a decent 18 points per game, but the Buckeyes, led by defensive coordinator Matt Patricia, are giving up just under 6 points a game. It's the number 2 points per game defense in the country. Ohio State's safety, Caleb Downs, he will be the best defensive player of this game. He has just 1 interception. He's due for another one at this point. The Huskies, though, they got their safety, Alex McLaughlin, had a couple of picks last week in the Apple Cup against Washington State, including a pick 6. Watch out for him. And again, if Julian's saying a young quarterback, he may make it through a few bad throws, maybe a chance to intercept him in this game. So I think this game all boils down to whether Ohio State's defense can slow down the Huskies' offense in a hostile environment, very loud environment. Washington definitely has a home field advantage here in this game. All right, those are just 3 of the 6 games we have on the Big Ten slate. Give me your comments on these. I'd love to hear from you on that. We'll get to the other 3 in a moment. In the meantime, be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode. And you can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten as well. Don't forget, we got links there where you can get some Big Ten gear, your Ohio State shirt or your Oregon Ducks pennant or Penn State hat. All that stuff's right there with our podcast. You go back and check out yesterday's podcast in case you missed it as well. But you can find all this at talkbig10.com, the number 10, talkbig10.com. So still to come, Kurt Cignetti's Hoosiers. Can they keep it rolling at Iowa? Kinnick's a tough place to play, and Iowa has pretty good defense. UCLA hits the reset button. They got to hit the road. And we got the big one. We haven't forgotten it. The whiteout. Oregon at Penn State. We're very excited about it. By the way, we're going live after that game here on Locked On Big Ten. And we will then, after we preview all these games, go on the record with our pigskin picks. That's all coming up next as we continue right here on Locked On Big Ten. This is Mazda's Moving the Game Forward, brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible, and they remind us to go the extra yard, shift into the extra gear, and keep the game moving forward. Just like Fernando Mendoza did for the Indiana Hoosiers, another 5-touchdown game last week, keeping things moving forward, just like Mazda. Absolutely a breakout performance there. So check out Mazda. You'll love how you feel behind the wheel when you're driving around, either it's a short trip or a weekend long trip. You'll love every minute of it. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight for an athlete, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten, and we got you covered with every single Big Ten game this weekend. No Friday game this week, all on Saturday. We talked about the first three. We're moving it down chronologically. We're into the 3:30 games now. We'll preview all these, give you my thoughts on this, and then hang on for our pigskin picks. But thanks for checking us out here every day, especially you everydayers out there on Locked On Big Ten. Don't forget, we have a website, talkbig10.com as well. Let's pick it up with the number 11 Indiana Hoosiers, big movers in the polls this week after what they did to Illinois this weekend. They are at Iowa. That is 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. That game is on Peacock, by the way. Iowa is coming off a very impressive 38-point performance on the road at Rutgers last week. And I'm keeping an eye on Hawkeyes quarterback Mark Gronowski. He showed some signs of getting his passing game going. He's starting to get a little more comfortable there. And this is still a team that relies on the run, though. Kamari Moulton is the running back that has taken over for Caleb Johnson this year. And Iowa also relies on defense and special teams. And Caden Weegan had a 100-yard kickoff return last week. So special teams still stepping up. This is still not an offense that's going to beat you with throws to wide receivers or tight ends anymore. It's run, ball control, play good defense, maybe catch a break on special teams. That's what they do. That's what they've always done. Meanwhile, the Hoosiers got a special teams touchdown as well last week when D'Angelo Pons blocked a punt against Illinois and returned it for a scoop and score. And then they were off and running on their way to their 63-10 win on Saturday night. So big question, can they keep it going? Will they have a blowout? Will they have a letdown? Will Iowa play them tough? Can they stay hot? So while the Hawkeyes passing game is just starting to wake up, IU quarterback Fernando Mendoza is possibly the hottest quarterback in the country right now. And he's got the best odds to win the Heisman as we speak. He's thrown 10 touchdown passes and no picks just in the last 2 weeks alone. And he's got some big-time weapons as well. Elijah Surratt is his nickname is Waffle House, open 24/7. You got Omar Cooper Jr., caught 16 passes, 285 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks alone. Red hot. And the Hoosiers running back room is deep. And their offensive line may be the best in the Big Ten. They are incredible right now. And their defense against a pretty good Illinois offense had 7 sacks and 10 tackles for loss. You don't see anything like this very often. It was incredible. By the way, speaking of the Hoosiers defense, just a little fun fact there. They got some good news from a judge on Wednesday in favor of IU starting safety Luis Moore, who is trying to get this year as an extra year of eligibility. There was a stay. He was allowed to play the last few games, but judge said, yeah, go for it. You're good to go for the rest of the season. And he's one of their best players. He's their leading tackler. He's got a couple of picks. That's a good break for Kurt Cignetti and the Hoosier defense. Meanwhile, UCLA is at Northwestern. This is a 3:30 Eastern time, 12:30 on the West Coast. It'll be on the Big Ten Network. And look, let's face it, this has been a rough season for UCLA. Sean Foster was fired after an 0-3 start, which the Bruins never led at any game. Tim Skipper is the interim head coach, and he takes over. And look, at least he had this bye week to kind of get this thing organized a little bit. I'm going to be just as curious as anybody to see what kind of team comes out for UCLA. And by the way, part of their coming together, if you will. Instead of hitting the practice field, they went to a bowling alley one day. That's right. Not like bowling for a bowl game, a bowling alley. They bowled, trying to build on some team building exercises there and see what they could do there. Have a little fun, loosen up a little bit, kind of hit the reset button, if you will. Now they're going to have to adjust again because they're going to, they're used to playing in that big, cavernous, historic Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Now they got to suit up in Northwestern's temporary 12,000 seat bleacher stadium on top of the rugby and soccer fields on the shores of Lake Michigan on campus. Because again, they're getting their stadium redone. It'll be done next year, but it'll be quite a difference for UCLA to see this. It'll be quite a different environment for them, kind of a high school vibe, if you will. Meanwhile, Northwestern is coming off a bye in which I thought, all things considered, they played Oregon tougher than a lot of people expected, despite the somewhat lopsided score in that game in the loss. And I think quarterback Preston Stone has shown a great deal of improvement since Northwestern's season opening loss to Tulane. All right, all that aside, and it's all good, and I can't wait to sit around and watch all of it all day long. The main event, the big event, Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific on NBC Big Ten Saturday night. Oregon, number 6 in the country, and number 3, Penn State. Here we go. By the way, we're going live after this one on Locked On Big Ten. So we got this one. It's been circled on everybody's schedule since the schedules came out. On the calendars, we just circle it. That's the game. This is the game. It's a rematch of last year's Big Ten championship game, won by Oregon, of course. Both teams went on to make the college football playoff, and feels like a little unfinished business for Penn State anyway. And for 2 weeks, I have mentioned my concerns for Penn State going into this game because Drew Aller's completion rate was just 56% in his last 2 games against FIU and Villanova, 2 very subpar football programs, and he was not lighting it up. I'm very concerned about that. In those games, he should have been getting north of 70, 75%. So I don't know. Something could be wrong. Maybe Drew Aller and Penn State only played up to the level of the competition. Maybe there's a problem. I don't know. But Drew Aller's a much better quarterback to be throwing 56% against FIU and Villanova, for crying out loud. And so, as I mentioned earlier in a podcast, by the way, if you missed it, I previewed this entire game on a podcast a couple of days ago. If you want to check it out on Lockdown Big Ten. But I mentioned that Penn State's light schedule, with 3 of the easiest opponents in the country at home, followed by a bye week, followed by a drastic ramp-up requirement to face an explosive team like Oregon, I think it could be a bit of a disadvantage for the Nittany Lions. I think at the very least, they may come out with a very slow start in this game as they kind of adjust to the speed and the power and the strength of the opponent. And I wonder of the advantage of the whiteout. You got 100,000 crazy fans going, ready to go. Might also be tempered by the fact that Oregon's no stranger to big games and loud crowds. And I know even Autzen Stadium is half the size, but they say it's just as loud. And again, Oregon's been in a lot of big games in the past year and a half. And the Ducks, their quarterback, Dante Moore, he seems to be getting very comfortable right now. His name has entered the Heisman conversation. He's got 11 touchdown passes and 1 interception, and he has an embarrassment of riches to get the ball to, whether it be all these new young wide receivers that are pretty exciting. He's got a deep running backs room to hand off to. So this is where Penn State's new defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, will earn every penny of his $3 million salary trying to figure this out. And, of course, the Nittany Lions have their usual number 1 scoring defense in the country, giving up 5.5 points per game, number 8 total defense in the country. They've got 9 sacks. They've got 4 interceptions. By the way, the Ducks have 4 interceptions too. Watch out for Jerry Mixon. He's got 2 interceptions already this year. So, yeah, the defenses will definitely play a key in this game here. But I can't wait. Oregon and Penn State. And as you know, we're here every day on Locked On Big Ten with multiple podcasts. But on Saturday, we pick a game, the key game on the schedule, the best game on the schedule, and then we go live right after it. We're going to go live right after this Oregon-Penn State game. We'll probably wait until the winning coach does the on-the-field interview, and then when he's off, boom, we're going to come live. And that way I get to see your immediate real-time reaction with your comments to me. You get my real immediate post-game unfiltered reaction to the game as well. And then we'll also track back and cover all the other Big Ten games of the day as well in addition to that. So we'll focus on Oregon and Penn State. We'll do your comments. I know there's going to be a lot of Oregon fans out there. Oh, did they when I'm not even doing it after an Oregon game, I always hear from Oregon fans. They're great. And then we'll also circle back and talk about all the other games in the Big Ten as well. So that's all. I imagine that'll be around 11 o'clock Eastern-ish, 8 o'clock Pacific, if you're out there in Oregon on the West Coast. So mark your calendar for that. We're going live right after the whiteout game. All right. Now, we've previewed all the games. It is now time to do our bold and fearless pigskin picks. I will have those for you on all 6 Big Ten games in 1 minute here on Locked On Big Ten. It's almost the weekend, and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered. Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered most. So let's break it down. I think it's simple. It's Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback of the Indiana Hoosiers, another 5-touchdown performance in their 63-10 win over Illinois. He was fabulous when the pressure was on. No hesitation, no delay, 15 straight pass completions. And that's why he's our player we want to highlight here, Fernando Mendoza. And just like Mendoza and Indiana, DoorDash delivers on your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday that you order. Stack up all season long. Just order every Saturday. Keep a streak going. And you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep your streak alive. Fuel your game day. Only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Caffeine just got a flavor update, ladies and gentlemen. 5-Hour Energy. That's right. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. 17. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients, and 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most about it, they're portable. They taste great. They do give you a boost when you need it, no matter what you're doing. Whether it's trying to do an extra event after work or maybe driving late at night, they are fantastic for that. Give you all the energy you need. Energy with boring, flavorless caffeine. No more time for all that. Give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites that you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. That's 5hourenergy.com. All right, it is time now to go on the record. We've previewed every game. We've talked to death about it. It is time to put us on the record with our fearless bold pigskin picks. We're going to go full screen with the list of games and the point spreads if you're on audio only. If you're on Apple or Spotify, and that's fine, by the way. A lot of people listen to us on that in addition to catching the videos on YouTube. All right, we're going to start it up in order that we just did the games. And I'm going to start it off with number 21 Illinois, or number 21 USC at number 23 Illinois. USC is a 6.5 point favorite. The over under on this thing is 60.5. I'm going to tell you, I've asked the question repeatedly. Brett Bielema is a great football coach. Can he get his team turned around from that awful performance against Indiana? Like I said, I mean it when I say that USC is probably the worst opponent they could follow Indiana with. I think USC comes in there. I think USC wins this game. They cover the 6.5. And look, Illinois is not going to just lie down, but USC will put up some points. So will Illinois. I would fly over this high number. I know 60.5 is a big number. I say it's over. And I say Illinois wins this game, and USC wins this game and covers. The other game here, Rutgers at Minnesota. Minnesota is a 4.5 point favorite. I think that this is a 3-point game either way. If Rutgers wins, they win by 3. If Minnesota wins, they win by 3. So I'll take Rutgers with the points here I don't think Minnesota will cover the 4.5. I do think they will fly past the over at 51.5 because, look, Rutgers could score. And I know if Minnesota's hanging with them or even beats them, it's going to take a number. So I go over the 51.5. Now, the main early game, number 1, Ohio State at Washington. Ohio State is a 7.5 point favorite, and the number is 51.5. I'm going to tell you this. I told you at the top, bold and fearless. I think there's a couple upsets this week. I think this is one of them. I think Ohio State, just like when they went west last year against Oregon, they lost the game. I don't think Ohio State's covering 7.5. I do not. I even think Washington could win this game outright. I also like the over on this number at 51.5. There's a lot of weapons. Washington scores a lot of points. Ohio State can score. Take the over at 51.5 on that one. All right, some other games. Do I have any other upsets? Number 11, Indiana is at Iowa. Kinnick Stadium is tough. This is a 3:30 game. Had this been a 7:30 game under the lights, there's just something magic about Kinnick Stadium. But I think Indiana continues to roll, and they'll cover the 7.5. I think they were a 6.5 point favorite when they beat Illinois by 53 points. I think Indiana wins and they cover. They're just a better, more complete football team. Iowa can't pass the ball. They won't have a lot of offense against the Hoosiers. And that defensive line, I don't even know if Iowa can run against them. I expect Indiana to put up another big win, cover the 7.5, and cover the 48.5. Indiana could probably get close to that by themselves. All right. UCLA at Northwestern. I like Northwestern in this spot. UCLA is going to come out, time zone, travel. It's going to be a weird atmosphere in that small stadium. I don't know how focused they are. I think Northwestern will win this game by a touchdown. I don't think I like the number at 44.5. I could see this being a lower scoring game. So I take the under 44.5. And finally, the big one. The whiteout, number 6, Oregon at number 3, Penn State. Penn State, 3.5 point favorite. The number's 51.5. Here's the other one. I don't know if I would call this an upset or not because it's 2 top 6 teams, but I'm going to take the dog. I'm going to take the road dog on this one. The Oregon Ducks know it's coming. They're going to go there. And then next week, we're going to be doing podcasts about can James Franklin win the big one. This half point bothers me too. The 3.5, I don't think Penn State covers that even if they win. But I think Oregon can go in there and win outright. And by the way, take the over. Well, but the offenses will be flying 51.5. So I think 5 of the 6 games I took the over. Got a couple of upsets. Oregon beat Penn State and Washington beating Ohio State. Let me know what you think. I know I'm going to hear about these in the comments section. There's no doubt about that. But I told you, bold and fearless predictions. That's what we do every Friday here on Locked On Big Ten. Don't forget, many ways for you to interact with us. We're here every day with all the news, the analysis of the news, and the opinion of the news. Like I just proved it to you. I'm not afraid to give you my opinion. Give me yours as well in the comments section. Many ways for you to interact with this podcast at Twitter at Talk Big Ten or X if you prefer. And of course, our website, talkbig10, 10.com. All of our podcasts go there, plus links to buy your favorite team merchandise. Christmas is coming. We're less than 3 months from Christmas, everybody. Before you go, hit that free subscribe button. That way you never miss a single episode. Go back for a second listen. Check out all of our podcasts this week that you may have missed. And while you're at it, I'll also tell you that Locked On is very proud of what they're putting together for college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present the college football kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll from Locked On Big 12 anchors the show. And also 2-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson is there, plus former college star Jesse Holley. And then we bring in our Locked On experts from the various teams as well. We get you ready for every single weekend. It's a college football preview that only Locked On can do. Gets the college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, only on Fire TV. That'll do it for us. Tell your friends about us. And don't forget to catch us live tomorrow night, right after the Oregon-Penn State game, probably around 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. I'll be looking forward to your comments as I'll give you my opinions right out of the gate after that game. All that coming up. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your games on Saturday. Enjoy the Big Ten. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. I'll talk to you next time.